So this is our cocoa bean roaster. It's a Barth Sirocco 200, which basically roasts about a sack of beans at a time, which is like 150 pounds at a time. The roast time is about 40 minutes to a maximum temperature of about 235 degrees Fahrenheit. That's a very sort of low and slow roast compared to coffee, which is a lot hotter and faster. It also is relatively low and slow compared to most chocolate makers because we're using very high quality beans. We don't want to burn away a lot of the really subtle flavors that come with them. So we roast the beans very gently in this cocoa roaster. We got this about a year ago. Before we had this in the winter over there, we didn't even have this facility. We operated out of a single facility upstairs. Now we have 3 facilities in the building here as we grow. Before we had this roaster, we were still making chocolate though. However, we were renting time on the coffee roaster at JP Licks to make a plane. We've grown the business very organically, very slowly. We didn't have any venture capital or anything. It's just friends and family, finance, business. And we got to the point where we were over there in JP Licks so much, they're like, guys, you can't come anymore. We got to roast coffee over here. So we had to invest in a cocoa bean roaster. We found this one in Italy, in the north of Italy, outside of Milan. It was in terrible disrepair. It wasn't operating. And it originally was built in Germany. It's a Barth Sirocco machine. And we got these guys in Italy to recondition it for us, slap a fresh coat of red paint on it, and ship it over to us. So the way it works is it basically roasts by convection. There's a big burner here that turns on. There's a big ventilator that sucks air into the air intake here, which heats up the air that flows through the roasting ball. Inside this ball, we put the raw beans up here into the hopper, which comes straight from the farm, which we buy direct from. They get dumped down into the ball. They flow down into the ball. And inside this ball, there's a ball that rotates, actually. And they roast, they tumble around in there, and they roast by convection. This hot air flowing through this ball is doing 2 things in the roasting process. It's drying the beans. When they come from the farm, they're still kind of a fruit. You know, they got like 7% residual moisture left in them. They've been dried in the sun, but they still got some moisture, and water is not the friend of chocolate, so we got to remove that. So this thing brings it down to about 2% residual moisture. And it also makes the bean more friable, more easily refinable. So when we winnow it, take off the shell, and then grind it in the stone mills, it grinds up nicely into a paste. The other thing is it develops flavors. So there's a lot of caramelization processes that occur during that roasting process. So when the bean's raw, it has a lot of unique flavors, a lot of interesting stuff going on. When it roasts, when you roast the bean, it brings out a lot of the chocolatey flavors. So that's what happens in here. Once the roast is done, after roughly 40 minutes, there's a little trier here, so the operator can taste the bean to confirm that it's just about done. And when it's just about done, not quite there, the beans are dumped down into this cooling tray. We left a bunch here so you can see them. In the cooling tray, it'll actually, if everyone, no kids around here or anything, right? Okay, you want to push that button, the one that says roaster, the green one. There you go. That's the one.
Is it turning like a wheel?
So what you're seeing here, this thing rotating is indicating that the ball inside the roaster is agitating the beans. And then you can see the agitators in the cooling tray tumbling the beans around. And there'd be if we had this thing fully on, there'd be a big flame right underneath my arm here, and there'd be and the ventilators would be going like crazy. It sounds like a spaceship taking off. But there's the air getting sucked over the beans through the screen that's underneath the beans. So it allows the beans to get dried, cooled very quickly to stop the roast and to prepare them for the winter. You can hit the red button there. Thank you very much. So that's how the roaster works. And after the beans are roasted, they get taken by big buckets over to the winnowing machine where the shells